we're going to move on to the Transformational Project Award. So again, another very highly contested award out there, very kindly sponsored by RM. And I'd like to welcome Richard Little from RM to the stage to present the award.
So it's a real pleasure to be invited to present the award for Best Transformational Project. I've been working in ed tech for about 20 years now, and about half of that time I've been working within digital assessment with RM. And I've enjoyed working with so many organisations on their digital assessment transformation journey during that time. It's no surprise, therefore, that we've seen a record number of entries for the Best Transformational Project Award this year. Entries that showcase rapid adoption of technology and a real focus on realising benefits quickly.
Greetings, and my name is Therese Jacobs, and it was my pleasure and honour to be the chair of judges for the e-assessment award for Best Transformational Project in 2021. So the four finalists in this category are Cirrus Assessment and the Chartered Accountants of Ireland, whose transformational change from paper to e-assessment illustrated a positive partnership approach to ongoing transformation and a continued openness to providing tailor-made and cutting-edge assessment solutions. Our second shortlisted entry was the British Council, whose successful migration of the high-stakes ACCA exams from test centres worldwide to remote invigilation. Third shortlisted entry was the Royal College of Psychiatrists, whose rapid and creative transformation of specialist face-to-face and clinical-based exams literally enabled the progression of trainee doctors in the profession to progress to the next stage. And our final shortlisted entry was Grid Incorporated, whose AI-powered app has the ability to predict TOEFL scores quickly and accurately, and then again using the power of AI, adapts to the learner's needs and learning style.
And so the winner this year, the judges felt was strong in all areas of the criteria that we were judging on. They felt it was compelling, enthusiastic, and had a very solid set of drivers behind the transformation. The result has had a clear positive impact not only on the delivery of assessments, but also on the construction of the assessments itself. And so I'm very pleased to announce that the winner of the 2021 award for Best Transformational Project is Cirrus Assessment and the Chartered Accountants of Ireland. Congratulations.
Now we're going to move on to our panel discussion now. It's a fantastic panel I've got lined up here today. I'd be interested to know from blended from each of you to whoever wants to step forward first, really. But what do you see as being the fundamental ingredients to a successful transformational or innovation project? Who wants to answer that one first? Rory, do you want to go first?
I'll be happy to.
Excellent.
Well, I think some of them are obvious. You know, one of the key things for any transformational innovation project that I look for is, support from top to bottom, right? Absolutely critical to see that kind of stakeholder support. And when I work with, say a client and looking at a potential innovation project, I absolutely want to see that from all levels.
I'd love to certainly echo what Rory said, but I've got a few other points here. Yeah. I mean, top to bottom clearly, but then it's so critical, we've noticed, to have a champion for that innovation within the partner organization. And that it stems from that. Once you have that champion, then things can take place. But it's clear that you'd have to see what you can do to cultivate that. The other key ingredient is cultivating a challenging environment within your own organization. When I say challenging environment, what I'm trying to say is you have to intellectually push people to be able to voice their opinions, to be able to share whatever they've got on their minds through the entire innovation process from start to end.
I would echo that. I absolutely would. And I think in my mind, there are three things. One is design constraints. So that's really looking at just the physicality of what your end users got to grapple with when you're trying to either sell your product or develop your product. And that could be anything from the time in a timetable to the physical space, financial considerations, teacher confidence. In our case, we're working with schools, and the curriculum and assessment requirements that they have to answer to. And then out of that, developing your design plan. So really understanding what pedagogy and classroom context you're dealing with, and how you're going to match and develop your assessment framework. We talk about assessments here.
We're probably building a bit on some of the points from Claudia. Actually, I think one of the real fundamentals is to make sure you're always putting the users at the centre of everything, whether that's the teachers or subject matter experts that are authoring items, or obviously the candidate as well that's taking the assessment. Kind of don't forget how important it is to understand their needs, take feedback as you pilot and trial kind of iterations into assessment models, because ultimately, you've got a whole user base there that we really want to focus on educating people, improving learning outcomes, and for candidates to get the best learning experience. And so that that needs to be front and center of everything that we're working on, really.
So how can organisation innovate better in a post-COVID world? So has anyone got any quick thoughts on that one?
Now, as quite a few folks of you are probably aware, we're tucked away on the other side of the globe. We're in Canada. And pre-pandemic, it was always a situation where we had to adapt to an environment where we could remotely work with them from here in Canada. And so we had to, use Skype, use a whole lot of different tools that were available at that point and make it work, do what it takes to make it work. And we had to also get our partners to buy into that idea or become comfortable with the fact that you have to work remotely if you want to be working with organizations internationally like this. Now, what the pandemic did was it broke that divide beautifully. I mean, that whole barrier was literally taken away because the mindset changed.
COVID's been a lever, particularly in schools and colleges sector, to let go of some key things that were almost set in stone. You had to have face-to-face staff meetings. You had to have all of these documents produced for you. They couldn't be, a whole raft of things that I think COVID has given us a window of opportunity. But of course, things can always revert back. So post-COVID, the challenge, I think, for companies and for school and college leaders is to make sure that they learn the best parts from the COVID situation, the COVID way of working, and employ them in their post-COVID working.
Welcome, guys. Congratulations, everyone. Huge achievements. Let's start with Aftab at Bolton College.
We're tackling a very big problem that's universal across the education sector around formative assessment, and that is the ability for a computer to mediate the teacher's ability to pose open-ended questions to a student.
I know when we were in the final stages, a lot of tough competition, but I know I suppose there's been a huge amount of work has gone in, and I suppose we're a professional body. We're the third oldest accountancy body in the world, so we're dealing with highly regulated environments and high stakes exams, and obviously accountants being very risk adverse. It was a tough journey to bring a lot of people and stakeholders on a journey of massive innovation at speed.
I think this is a very good example of what you can achieve if the vendor and the customer works together in true partnership and really put their shoulders behind it and work together. So, and of course, a huge thanks to Ian for being a visionary who wants to go where no man has gone, as he says it himself. Yeah. So I think this is a very good example of collaboration.
A quick thank you to all our sponsors of today's session. So PSI for awards headline sponsor, Vretta and RM for sponsoring the awards, much appreciated.